Supercharged 1961 VW Beetle. I am an absolute moron. I have been trying to get this thing to work, and I have made a really stupid mistake. And so I'm going to show you what this mistake is, but please don't roast me too bad. I'm kind of embarrassed, actually, that I did this, and so I'm going to show you what I did wrong. All right, so the issue is basically, so here are my main jets here, right there. So taking these guys out, I'm going to show you the idiotic move that I did. I'm going to bring this inside. You can see here, first thing in the morning, it is very cold. It's not freezing quite, but very cold. Here are my jets. I'm going to bring them inside, sit them on a paper towel. All right, so what I did here, you can see what I did is I took I have my main jets here, and I had swapped, you see these new things here? These are the turbo emulsion tubes, and I had swapped out the F11 emulsion tubes. And as I was looking, because it was running super rich, and I'm like, what could I have possibly done wrong? And what I did, this is the air correction jet. And I never took them out of the F11s and put them in to the turbo ones. And so what that means is I've been running these main jets with no air correction jet whatsoever, which means that it's literally, instead of being 2 millimeters as a 2.00, it was running wide open. And so that is idiotic, because of course it's going to be rich. I'm running with a hole that's effectively like, what would that be, 0.9 or something. It's just free flowing through, and God knows what that's doing. But it's, at first it seemed lean, and then all of a sudden it was running super rich, and it just did not like that at all. So what I have to do now is, and frankly, I'm surprised it ran at all or didn't blow something up, but my jets here with the turbo tubes have no air jet whatsoever inside of them. So I am going to basically pull these guys off, stick my air correction jet in there like this. I just can't believe I did that. But you know, I don't have that much experience with carburetors or jetting, but that's what it should look like. It should have an air correction jet in there. And then this guy, and then that actually goes inside there, just like that. That's what I needed, and I didn't do it. So each one of these, air correction. It's funny because I started Googling like, forgot air correction jet, and there's no results, because you know what? People don't forget the air correction jet, but I did. So anyway, that's idiotic. All right, so I got these things off, brought in a little piece of wood so I could tap them in. So here's what I've got with my turbo emulsion tubes, and I can take this little thing here, tap that in, and the other one, this little guy here, and tap that in. So now I have that, and I can tap this guy in. So let's see. Yep. There we go. Just to compare. Yep. And the last one here. So this on two of the jets, just a little tighter. That one goes in all the way, no problem. All right, so now I have my 4 jets with the turbo emulsion tubes, and I've taken my taking my air correction jets out of my F11s. So I'll put those back in the Ziploc bag here. Frankly, I'm surprised that this would work at all. But what's interesting is, with no air correction jet, the thing was actually running, and it was actually for a while getting me a 12 air fuel. But what was funny is on idle, it was off the charts. In other words, above 20, 25, or above whatever the highest was. So clearly there was a problem. Anyway, now, and this still has the 1.55 main jet. So if it's still too rich, I should be able to change the 1.55s. But I'm going to leave it with 2.0 air correction, 1.55 main jet. We're going to see if I can start this thing up and actually get a decent reading. I'm going to install these back into the Webers and put the pressure hats back on. Okay, the other thing, now that I've got those jets reinstalled, the other thing that my cousin pointed out to me, thanks cousin, is that I set this up with the elbow for my barb on the blow-off valves. You know, this was getting in the way of the oil filler, you know, when I put this on there. And my cousin pointed out that what I can actually do is take off all of these little Allen bolts on the blow-off valve, and instead of elbowing this, which needs to point this way, I just rotate this, and then I can actually just run the barb straight out of this side, but I have to rotate this whole setup. So I'm going to do that because it's a load on it. So now what I have to do is, instead of having this pointing this direction, I want it to point this direction. So I'm just, it's funny because this thing really doesn't seem like it would change the spring setup that much, but what I need to do is probably have this point this direction. All right, so before I try and tighten any of this down, I just want to make sure the barb would be pointed the right direction. So this would make the barb point this direction. You know, I could move it back another 1/6, then it would point more this direction. So I'm going to move it. That's what I'm going to do is, whoops, I'm going to rotate this so that it just points back 1. That's going to make it point about this direction, and that will be my best possible orientation, just to go back 1. Just for the record, there are my main jets put back in with. All right, so with this blow-off valve what I've done here is I reoriented this. Now I have to tighten this down here because this will obviously block my access to this. So what I'm going to do is slowly tighten down these things evenly. So I think I got this, and just make sure this is snug, which it is. All right, now I can reinstall this carb hat, and that should have just the simple barb in the right direction. These are all tightened down. This is just, it still is fairly loose compared to what it can be, but I'm going to assume that that's going to be somewhere around the 10 to 12 pounds on the blow-off valve. This thing I tightened down. It has a little rubber O-ring here underneath this. Right. All right, and now feeling somewhat humbled and humiliated by my own fucking stupidity, I have now put this back together. I have air correction jets. I have blow-off valve now with the barb coming out the right side, and shortened this cable. I put a little bit of lubrication inside of this blow-off valve to make sure it was like acting a little bit sticky, so I made sure that'll work right. And on the other side, everything is correct. Now I just have to wait until like maybe 9 a.m. so I don't piss off my neighbors, and I'm going to start the thing up with my air-fuel ratio mix and see if the thing runs any better with the actual correct jets. All right. Yes. Stupidity. All right. Okay, it's 9 a.m. It's time to try this thing out. I got it all hooked back up. I have my timing on there. I have my my air fuel mix. I'm gonna set that up here so that it's visible. Just have to plug in these two things. Whoops. Yeah, that'll do it. Wrong one here. Okay, that should warm up. It does this thing where it goes around, so let's see if I can see both things here. See the motor and the air fuel. Let's see if I can, and the timing as well is hooked up still, right? Yeah, it's hooked up, it's hooked up. was interesting. It seems like it can still go down below 10 on the air fuel. It still does a little bit of the cyclical on the idle, like up, down, up, down. The boost goes up, then the boost goes down, and the boost goes up. And the question is that basically pressure building up, then the blow-off valve releasing it, then the pressure going up, blow-off valve releasing it. I can see it also on the fuel pressure. So definitely doing a couple of things a little bit funky. Seems to idle, seems to definitely run better than when I didn't have the air correction jets in there. I think I still have a little work to do. I think I have the 1.55 main jets in there, so it might be worth going down to either the 1.5s or 1.45s, just because it's getting too rich when I rev it. So, all right, that's where we are.